What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mad Max. We are back at it again. August 23rd at the Emerson Theater. We have Rotten to the Core. This is going to be... I've got the card written out in front of me on spiral notebook, as every good journalist does. And when you look at the card already, it's nonstop. There's not a time to go take a piss during what's going to be a 3.5-hour show. But yeah, August 23rd, Emerson Theater. Doors at 6. First bell's... We say 6:30, but it's indie wrestling, so what's that mean, like 7:15? But as you can already see, very joined by a very special guest making his first trip up to the Hoosier State, and he's got a tall task at hand. He's got the Bull Mastiff and Justin Kyle calling him out. Justin, Gary and I were on the phone yesterday. Justin wants this match. Justin wants to go, and he wants to be on highlight reels, and not Botchamania highlight reels. He wants to make highlight reels. Alex Ocean's joining me. Alex, thank you so much, giving us a little bit of your time. You know, I know down there in Florida, it's probably hard to pull yourself away from the beach and the pool and stuff, but appreciate you coming on. So what's been going on with you, man?
Just living the dream, trying to get back into a normal schedule with COVID. So coming back to wrestling is I'm just so happy. Sure. The weekends are starting to fill up again, traveling again. So I'm happy for that. So.
Yeah, and you got to make those long hauls because there's a few Florida indies, but you're making long trips everywhere you're going, huh?
Oh yeah. Right now there's not shit in Florida. Like Florida's the hot zone, So I fly everywhere. I go for the weekend and then I get home and I basically quarantine for the entire week because the last thing I need is to get sick so I can't travel and do the one thing I want to do. You know? So I don't really do much, but then the weekend comes and basically I have to fly everywhere right now, Northeast, and basically in the Northeast right now is kind of where everything's at. So,
well, we're getting it back here in the Hoosier State going on pretty good with this major card. Before we get into that, let's we got to get the gimmicks out of the way first. Pro Wrestling Tees link, what you got going on there?
Yeah, so Pro Wrestling Tees is just / Alex Ocean. And then the social media, all the social medias are the same. They're at the Alex Ocean. So very, very simple. If you remember my name, you can find me on anything.
And you're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everything, right?
Yep. Instagram, right. Twitter, Facebook, TikTok.
I haven't. I joke that I'm too old. I'm 34, and I'm not doing TikTok, and I don't do Instagram. It's Facebook and Twitter are going to be it for me.
Right.
But yeah, this is really starting to shake down, and we'll get into you and Justin in a second, but I just want to run through this card real quick because there's hitters friggin' everywhere. We got Cole Radrick and John Wayne Murdoch in a death match. Hudson and Morales versus Ware Spencer. I tried to get the names of the guys in Ware Spencer, but I couldn't get them. But the one guy in Ware Spencer had a full-time job at Impact Wrestling as a tech guy, and was hoping to work his way into the wrestling side and couldn't. And he ended up, he and his tag team partner were given a tryout match and were interrupted by Drew and Justin. And Drew and Justin beat the living dog shit out of them and kind of welcomed them to Indiana. So they've got a little bit to prove that they're not just knock-around guys. They're not enhancement talent. They're not jobbers. They're legit workers, and they're coming into Indianapolis again to show Miles and Hudson what's going on. We've also got Vinny Ratlock and Taylor Miles in a musical instruments match, which is funny because after the show last month, after Fallout, I talked to Vinny in the parking lot, and he said he's done doing death matches. But you got Taylor Myers in a musical instruments match, I got a feeling somebody's bleeding and somebody's getting hurt pretty bad. And then there's Charlie Cruel, and she's got a mystery opponent. And from what I've heard, they're bringing in some big girl from down in the Kentuckiana area that's supposed to be like this massive, strong girl that's going to throw Charlie around. So that'll be very interesting. And I was talking to Charlie earlier, and Charlie has no idea who it is. That's a shoot. Charlie has no idea who she's wrestling. Gary's keeping it very close to the vest, not letting anybody know. Also on the card is going to be Chuck Steen from the Detroit area, and he's going to battle the Dragon, Dale Patricks, in a death match. And that's the barbed wire massacre match. then the Bastard Cassidy and Ace Perry, and in a last man standing match, Corey Storm and Akira. The one match I left out, the main event, Alex Ocean, Justin Kyle. What do you know about Justin?
Well, I know that he requested the match. He wanted to fight me. I know that he's a big dude. I've been watching him. Very impressive. And I also know he's scared to do a death match, so we're going to do a street fight instead.
So you're walking him into you're coming into his backyard. He's an Indianapolis guy. But we're going to be playing in your playground.
Pretty much. A little toned down. I'm going to, take it easy for him. So, it doesn't get all cut up and whatnot. But yeah, this is what I do. So I can wrestle, but, I prefer to play around a little more with weapons and whatnot.
Get the toys out, huh?
Yep.
So when you're going against a guy that has got, not any slight against you. You're definitely a muscular, built-up guy as well. But, Justin's traps are as big as my chest. That dude is freakishly strong. Akira had the plan before Akira got hurt by Tremont. When Akira and Justin were supposed to wrestle, Akira's plan was to work at more of a shoot fight. He was gonna go after the limbs, soften him up. And the thing we haven't mentioned yet is Drew Skills is in his corner. Drew Skills is our heavyweight champ. And Drew Skills has been around for ever. Drew Skills has fought Tatanka. He's fought Al Snow. He's fought everybody from 20 years of being in WWE's developmental for 20 years. So there's a lot of wrestling knowledge in that corner. What do you do as a guy coming into their yard? That's the heavyweight champ and a guy that's got it probably. Akira's our number one contender, but you got to put Justin probably at number 2 or number 3. I don't think Justin's got a loss in AWR. What's the game plan going forward with that? How do you deal with that?
The game plan is always the same for me. It doesn't matter how big, how small. I wrestled, dude. I'm not 6'5", former NFL lineman. He's signed to NXT now, so you know what I mean. It's nothing new to me. I might be bigger than the normal indie talent, but I've faced him. I've gone face to face with MVP. He's a massive man. I faced a headbanger, Shannon Moore. Like, he's not a small dude. So I've been in the ring with similar built guys, similar style guys. Very athletic guys, and I'm gonna do the same thing. Like, I use my body as a weapon, right? Like, I'm not a very technical mat wrestler. I'm a high risk, high reward, and live or die. If anybody's seen any of my work, like that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I do every time.
That first clip of yours that went viral, when we actually we spoke about a week after that, how tall was that ladder?
So the ladder is 20 feet, and people are going to think it's higher, but that's because on TV they exaggerate the height of their ladders. If you count the rungs, most of the 20-foot ladders, right, on the WWE whatever are like 14 to 16. So this
and 12 sometimes. They use a lot of 8 and 12-foot ladders.
Yeah, so this is a legitimate 20-foot ladder. Like they don't really even make them anymore. Like, you would have to get it special made. Like, there's one company that does. So we found it, and it's a monstrosity. Like, you can't even set it up with one person. So that's why if anyone says, oh, 20-foot ladder, no. That's a 20-foot ladder. It better look like that. I could almost touch the top of that gymnasium.
Yeah, a basketball gymnasium where they play high school athletics.
Yeah.
Those are not small roofs. So you climbed to the top of that ladder that day and pretty much overnight made yourself infamous infamous and famous, all in 2 videos. You became kind of a rock star in the indie wrestling world. Let's talk about that other video, and that would be the gusset plate down south. That had to. I always said I'm not a fan of the cringe deathmatch stuff. I don't like the paper cuts and the stuff to the tongue. I'm not a fan of the syringes. I bet I watched that 3 times. That was just holy shit, these guys are nuts.
Yeah. It is what it is. It wasn't planned. It wasn't my idea, but it happened. That's all I can say about it.
Right.
It's a bit of a ridiculous spot, but it is what it is. Like you said, it caught traction. Like you said, there's a lot of shock value, but it's kind of what I go for, I guess, is shock value. I'd prefer to do it to somebody else,
right,
next time around. But
So, Justin and Drew are pretty well known. Drew's been our world heavyweight champ the entire time we've been around. Justin's been in his corner most of the time. So guys know them, but, not a lot of people are going to know you. Justin's not a very well-liked guy, so it's going to be very, very easy for you to be very fan-friendly, should we say. So tell the folks at home a little bit about you. We got some great fans. We'll sell that building out maybe the day before, but we'll definitely turn walk-up traffic away. We have for the last 2 or 3 shows. So there will be a lot of very blood-hungry, very ravenous fans that are ready to accept some new wrestlers.
Yeah, I mean, if been paying attention, there's not a whole lot of indie wrestling going on right now. So put myself over a little bit. If you've been paying attention to indie wrestling within the last month, if you haven't heard of me and Akira, obviously Akira's a mainstay there, but as indie wrestling as a whole, I feel like we kind of, especially when it comes to death matches, we've kind of been standing out. So, if you've seen that, really made my name with the death matches in a Florida company called No Peace Underground. And then now, really just trying to break out with ICW No Holds Barred, which we got coming up again next weekend. So
who do you have in that show?
There's only one announced. I got 2 matches. The first one, night 1, is me and Oren Vite. And then
Jiminy Christmas. That's 2 of the. I mean, I kind of look at you guys as the next generation of, as the guys that, like the John Wayne Murdochs and stuff, and this is no slight to John, but John's going to, he's got 10 years left. You guys got 20. So, you guys are that next generation. You guys are the ones that are going to be winning the big tournaments and stuff.
Me, I mean, it's a 2-day thing, and we're day 1, and, if it goes the way I want it to go, we won't even make it to day 2. So, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not holding anything back because there's 2 days in a row, you know what I mean? So day 1, it's going to be balls to the wall. If in my mind, if I don't steal the weekend in that match alone, it's almost a failure, that's where I'm setting the bar with that match. Because it's a guy I've just wanted to face since I started doing these, similar styles, more of a, kind of high risk style, I guess you could say. We're not the cringy, super gory deathmatch guys. We do big spots.
Right. You don't have to look at that his first, I think it was his first GCW match against G-Raver at 400 degrees. The first spot he does is over the top rope through probably 20 tubes and 2 pieces of plywood.
Yep.
That's pretty insane.
Right. So
it's not taking a gusset plate to the dick, but I'm
going to stay away from the dick gusset plates on this one, hopefully. It's not what I'm looking to do, but it's going to be nuts. It's going to be good. So if you're unfamiliar with me, you can check out my last one against Eric Ryan. Again, next weekend's coming up. Got both of those. And then there's some other matches coming up too until Asylum. So my name's going to be around. So hopefully we're good.
And are you in Insane 8 or any of those other shows going on?
I'm not doing Insane 8. I got Total Psychotic Wrestling in Knoxville. So it's me, Brad Cash, and Raven Havoc.
Yeah.
The weekend before, and then I got that Violence and Suffering in New Jersey the weekend before. We got Rotten to the Core. So I don't know who I'm fighting for that one. Legit don't know, but that card is stacked as well. So I'll be on that one as well. That one's on Fight TV too. So.
Yeah, be sure to check those guys out. Here's the one thing, and I always go, I hit this pretty hard in the show. Guys, I don't know Alex very well. I know some of the other guys. I think he's a Florida guy. I live in Indiana, so it's we don't know each other. But I would say 90% of guys running around the indies are working a full-time job, training, working out, trying to eat right, and then traveling every weekend. If you like what they do, go buy those the fight pay-per-views. Go to their pro wrestling tees. Follow them on social media. Give them the likes on social media. That's how these guys are paying these bills, because I can tell you, none of us are getting rich doing this.
Nope.
It's all in hopes that someday somebody with 3 letters that are really important will get a call.
Yep.
And on that, dude, how are you not? Is the broken neck the thing you think that has kind of slowed you down? Because when we talked a year ago, I figured you were headed to Japan or NXT or, because you're a bigger guy too. How tall are you?
I'm 5'11". So I'm really not that big, but just compared to a lot of guys these days, it seems like it.
Yeah, when you're in there against the 5'7" guys that are claiming to be 6 foot tall, it's.
But yeah, I got a decent build on me. Yeah, I mean, the neck slowed me down a little bit, but I think really what it was is it went back to back. It went from the neck, and then I was 3 matches into my return, and then everything got shut down from COVID. You know what I mean? I had a huge WrestleMania weekend plan, and like I was gonna blow up WrestleMania. Like I knew it. I had every opportunity in the world to do it, and it was just bound to happen. And then it all got taken away. So after that, it's kind of like starting from square one. Luckily I got the opportunity with ICW is kind of like my saving grace, just because like, indie wrestling, like what have you done for me now? I had viral videos, but I wasn't a household name enough to where I could just, come back whenever and people know who the hell I am. So I really needed that, that opportunity to stand back out.
Yeah. And I mean, I think I told you that in that interview we did a year ago, that I don't think you're going to be in the indies in another year. I foresee, and where would you, because like I know Akira has no interest in words are very hard for me tonight, apparently. It's been a stressful week at work. I thought Tuesday, I'm like, well, at least it's Friday. And my secretary looked at me and goes, it's Tuesday, right? And I'm like, oh, no. We got 3 more days. Anyways, I know Akira has no interest in going to that company that ends in E. We can't say their name because they'll cease and desist anything you say. But AEW is totally cool with anybody saying their name. Big Japan, like what's Alex Ocean look at and define success for his career?
And to say I don't want to go there, I'd be completely lying. But with what I do, obviously the other companies kind of like cater to that style maybe a little more, not really adult oriented, but just more hardcore stuff allowed. But at the end of the day, like you said, whoever's gonna pay me to do what I do, like that's where I'm gonna go. That's what I'm gonna do. Say I don't want to go there. That's a complete lie. I want to go there.
I want to work for him too. So
do I think maybe I would have more success in the other places? Like it just depends. What they see for you, what they allow you to do. Because what I'm willing to do, I think is quite obvious. Now it's just what is the company going to be willing for me to do? So.
And you're not, I mean, you can't be too far from Full Sail, are you?
What do you mean?
Full Sail Arena, where the
I don't know.
How far is Orlando from where you're at?
About 3 hours. So I'm not.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, you would be a local guy for them almost.
Right.
And then, so that puts you what, like 6 hours from Nashville area?
No, Nashville's like 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get lost in the South. I'm a sales guy, and so I travel a lot. So my territory kind of stops Kentucky. I can tell you exactly how long it takes to get to Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Yeah, no, I was actually just in Nashville last weekend. I had a match, but yeah, no, I mean, and like I said, I'll travel. I'll even move. It depends, who's going to pay me to do it. But at the same time, I've seen where even if you get the opportunity to work for some of these big companies, if you take that too soon, sometimes I feel like maybe you're better off building yourself on the indies as much as possible before kind of jumping ship. And you get that, that initial push, and then you don't really have to worry about building yourself up at a bigger stage as much.
Right.
So,
well, I mean, it happened to Chris Jericho at the entertainment company. He came in from World Championship Wrestling, huge, and then they kind of programmed him weird, and Chris Jericho disappeared for like 3 years on there. So it can happen to, it can happen to anybody. If it can happen to, in my opinion, one of probably the 3 best wrestlers we'll see in our lives, and Jericho, if he can get muted like that, it can definitely happen to anyone. So, I don't want to take too much more of your time. I'd like maybe 10, 12 more minutes, and we'll let you get going. On the card, are there other guys? Because, obviously you're here for a while. Gary's good at taking care of his wrestlers and his podcast guys too. And you've got to have some things set in sight. There's things being knocked around about maybe like a hardcore kind of division. And you got to think guys like Akura and John Wayne Murdoch are going to be at the top of that. Dale Patrick's, Dale hasn't lost in AWR yet. We're bringing in Chuck Steen. It's his first time back since our deathmatch tournament. Would you want to do the deathmatch tournament? Or are you seeing yourself more of going, you're not not to say you're not a straight wrestler, but you are more of a deathmatch and hardcore style guy? Or would the world title kind of appeal to you a little more and get in there and show the mat work and stuff?
It just depends what the company wants. Like I'm pretty open to both. I enjoy both. I was still working on it, but I had a lot of things that were set up to kind of prove that I could wrestle. I'm not just like a deathmatch hardcore guy.
Right.
Those kind of got shoved under the table. COVID just ruined everything. So those will
And
come back.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I do apologize, but you're a professionally trained pro wrestler. Like you're not a hack and slash guy. Where'd you train at?
The Main Event Training Center down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Yeah, I wrestled for, I haven't been wrestling for an incredibly long time anyway, but I wrestled a lot and a lot of names before I ever tried my first death match. Like I just did the death match because I thought it looked cool. Like I was never a death match fan. I never wanted to do them. I always thought hardcore stuff was cool, but like growing up, I didn't even know death matches were a thing. To be honest, I only watched the main company. I didn't really follow the indies. I wasn't really aware there was the indies were as hot as they were or anything like that. So I was always drawn to your Jeff Hardy, your Mick Foley, the hardcore stuff, but I didn't even know death matches were an option. So it wasn't until I found out No Peace had only run a couple events, and I found out about them, and I went and checked them out, and I was like, man, this is cool. Like I want to do this, and it just kind of took off from there. But like I said, I got to do a lot of cool things. I got to the guys that I've been able to wrestle, like Shannon Moore and MVP and the Headbangers, and Mick Foley was a special enforcer in one of our matches. Matt Stryker, all these big names and mat-based technical storytelling wrestlers, and I feel like I did good against all of those. Like it wasn't, I'm not just a one-trick pony. So, whatever they want to use me for, I'm pretty much game. Like I'm laid back. I just want to fight everybody, to be honest. It doesn't matter.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So who do you? Let's kind of let's fantasy book here for a minute. You get through Justin Kyle. I'm sure you go flying off of several apparatuses in our building on the 23rd. And you Justin Kyle ends up counting the lights 1, 2, 3. Who you want next? If our ring announcer puts a mic in front of you, you've got our locker room. You've got the Naptown Dragon, Dale Patricks. You've got John Wayne Murdoch. I don't know. Have you and John wrestled?
We have not.
So you've got the Duke of Hardcore, the 2016 King of the Death Matches in John. You've got Cole Radrick. I don't think you guys have squared up yet, have you?
We have not.
You've got Drew Skills, who's been around forever. We've got a lot of names. We've got Bastard Cassidy, who's coming in and making his first appearance. And Bastard's not a real known guy yet, but the kid's built like a freaking brick shit house. And you want to talk about strong style? He works shoot style pretty. He's there's a guy in Alabama that'd get a hard on if he saw him wrestle. You know what I mean? So there's lots of names. Who are you kind of thinking you'd want to square up with next?
The two of them you said. Murdoch, of course. That's a big one, right? Like you want to fight him. So that'd be a great one. But then the other one, like Cole Radrick, I feel, he's definitely been kind of stepping into more like hardcore deathmatch kind of stuff. Obviously,
he was in our tournament.
Yeah, he's been making a name for himself on the indies recently, and I feel like our two styles combined, we would kill it. I don't
could end up catching our building on fire.
Yeah. So that one sounds good to me. That's probably what I'd like to do. That would.
Okay, and then let's say things go not your way. I know you guys don't like to think that way. This is a sport, and somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose. Where would you want to go that way then? You're not coming off the win. You need to get your feet back underneath you in AWR. Where you want to go? You still want to go Cole, or you want to maybe grab like a Chuck Steen and get in a real bloody death match, or
still doing the same thing, man. I probably want to fight Kyle again if I do unfortunately lose. But if I lose, then next time I'm bringing glass. So I guess we'll just have to figure it out from there.
Well, hopefully COVID clears up, because COVID's got a pretty rough stranglehold on glass in the state of Indiana at the moment. I know there's a show going on this weekend. and they're advertising a lot of glass, and there's a pandemic going on, and it makes me a little nervous. It's like, guys, maybe we dial it back a little bit. And the other thing is we've got a fairly stacked tag division with some stuff going on in that. Do you have a tag party you'd want to bring up and take a run at that, or?
Well, if it's very, very new, but me and Akira have been running with this Future of Death thing. So if we ever get booked in a tag,
that puts a smile on my face. I don't think you're going to be able to wipe off, because I know Akira is a reject, but think of this: the rejects versus Future of Death. Oh my gosh.
That's one. That is one that I've been thinking of. That, and 440 are the two that
440, but
they have to happen. The rejects and them, they both have to happen with me and Akira. Like, it's just
the hooligans would be good too.
That would be good. It's just the way I look at it, especially death matches. Death matches are super hard for whatever reason. You wouldn't think they would be, right? They're kind of hard to like break into, like that top tier. So me and Akira have been, lucky, fortunate enough to show that we belong there. At the same time, though, like if that never happens, one guy gets a break kind of a thing, and we both, basically consecutive weekends thrusted ourselves right into, where people are like clamoring, like for us to be with this person and this person and this person. You know what I mean? Like the best deathmatch wrestlers in the country. So, that's kind of where we ran with it. People started, saying, oh, he's the Future of Death. He's the Future of Death. So they call us both that. So we just kind of ran with it. Even made a poster of it. It's on my social media. I think there's like 3 of them left. Coming to the deathmatch circus, they'll be available. But yeah. So like,
that'd be a badass T-shirt. Just do me a favor, make a T-shirt that's not freaking black. I'm a real pale guy. If I wear a black T-shirt, I look like I died about 3 months ago. So I need some gray or orange. Like there are other colors besides black.
We can do. Black's pretty universally loved on the indies. So.
I always said, like, growing up and watching the big company, anytime I go to a show, I'm never wearing a black T-shirt, because especially I'm 34, so I grew up smack in the middle of the Attitude Era. And anytime you watch, it's a sea of black T-shirts. Yeah. And anytime they would show the WWE, whatever, they would go to Fort Wayne, where I grew up. They'd pan the crowd, and you'd see me in an orange shirt. I could stick out like a freaking sore thumb. So it was kind of a funny thing to do. But yeah, so there was a question asked on Facebook earlier. None of the workers in the group were really willing to answer. It was on one of the deathmatch Facebook groups. And the question, and I think it's very valid, when you guys are using glass especially, guys will still gig. Why is that? If you're using tubes especially that are going to, do tubes not cut you the way you want to bleed? Are they too superficial and you still need to run the razor? Or?
I think it depends on the purpose, or on the person. I think you see it less now, people gigging. Yeah, I think, because I know what they're saying. I actually seen the post. Like personally, I've done it.
I think I tagged you in it. So yeah.
Yeah, I've done it. I've gigged, and then my bloodiest matches are when I don't gig. So it's just like glass is so unpredictable. It can cut you. It cannot cut you. But I guess my thinking is, like, if you use enough of it, you're gonna get cut, right? And like that's what I want to do in a match. I don't want to have to like worry about it. And but I just think some guys, they just got so used to it. You can maybe control it a little better, and you got guys like Tremont that would just crimson mask every single time. So
Tremont's probably got so much scar tissue there that you could hit him with a bandsaw and he's not going to bleed.
True. So it's just, it kind of is what it is. I, like personally, I hate gigging. Like I just hate it so much. And
you just much rather hard way. And
yeah, I just, I think it's more natural. I think most of the time it looks better.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't end up with the sea of straight lines down your fucking forehead, and that super crazy look. Like I'm just.
You don't want a Tremont forehead when you're Tremont's. Here's what's crazy is Tremont and I are the same. I think I'm 6 months older than Matt Tremont.
No, I know.
That dude. And Matt, I'm sure. I don't know if you'll listen or not. I don't think a podcast based on a indie promotion in Indianapolis is probably on the top of your listening. But if you are, no disrespect, I appreciate everything you've done. I've bought your shirts. I really do appreciate everything you've done for the business. It's amazing to see how hard that life has been on him. You know, he has. I mean, he's got the brother walk for sure, and
yeah.
but so does Marco's stunt. So you know.
Yeah, I mean, he's just gone so hard for so long, you know, and especially being a bigger guy, like those falls are gonna take a toll on you, you know. Right. So, I mean, I noticed that, like, from like 180 to 195, there's a difference when I jump off a ladder. There's a big difference. So, you know, you talk about guys like you're talking about Dale Patrick's, like bigger guy. It's, you know, it's gonna it's rough.
And Dale is north of 185, I think, by probably 5 or 6 pounds. And when Dale went flying off the balcony at the Emerson last month, it was. Luckily, all the wrestlers had come out to watch the death match, and no one knew he was going up there. He kind of shocked me. He was getting ready to interview Justin Kyle, and we were told to hold a stool, and he went flying. And it's funny, when I got to the arena, I have to make wrestler call with you guys, just the same, you know, employees of the company. We all have to do the same thing. And I'm a habitually 15-minute, 20-minute earlier than the beginning of call kind of guy. And I walk in, and the first thing, I didn't know Akira was hurt yet. And I walk in and look at the balcony, and I go, man, how many times is Akira going to jump off that tonight? And then there's big speakers set up, and I literally looked at Gary, and I said, could you imagine like Cole, or invite Alex, Ocean, and Akira in here, where they can just fly off of everything? And he goes, stop fantasy booking and taking my ideas away from me. So,
what the hell?
Why are you just beating someone up? What is going on here? You just found it. Boy.
What the hell is Dale doing?
What is Dale doing?
Oh my God. Don't fall from there, because you definitely going to be flying, my boy.
He making sure that Ann is hung properly, dude. Okay?
Yes. Now's probably not the
Dale,
time
please
to do
don't.
some
No,
work.
Dale, don't.
Oh my God!
The first show of the episode, we got a man jumping off the balcony. Welcome to AWR!
So then the other question I saw on Facebook this week is, we all know there's a tournament going on this weekend. It's a promotion that, you know, it is what it is. I'll leave it at that. I don't have any heat with them. I don't really want any heat with them, but I don't care if I get it. They're doing those pits of like lemon juice and peroxide and all that, and then cactuses and stuff. Is that stuff you're willing to do, or is that a little too old school? And the coals and all, like the hot coals seems too hard to control.
You know, it just depends. There's certain things, like, I don't fuck with cactuses really. Like, I just think it's stupid. Like, I don't think it's like that. Like, for me to want to do something like.
Does it seem like 1995?
Yeah, it's just almost like I don't know. It just doesn't seem. It's not something that appeals to me, because I don't think I can make a cactus be that cool as much as I can make a light tube or a ladder or, you know, knives or, you know, something crazy. It's a cactus, and it's just annoying. And, you know, those the biggest thing for those things, like toothpicks and cactuses and stuff like that, like, it's porous, so like that's how you get infection. So it's like taking a huge risk for what? For just to get cacti stuck in you. Like, I was in the Army for 8 years. Like, I've had cacti stuck in me, and it's you know, it sucks. And it's
that doesn't sound like a good time.
Yeah, like, I would much rather have to pull glass out of me or something like that. So, like, you know, some of it, the lemon juice, like, that's kind of funny. The salt, you know, you do stuff like that. Dry ice, like, whatever. But when it comes to, like, you know, the porous stuff, the toothpicks and the cacti, nah. Like,
I mean, ask John Wayne Murdoch about the
porcupines. I have.
Yeah.
Porcupine needles.
Yeah, that, and then he also got the skewer in his elbow, to where he had to have surgery in his elbow to get the skewer removed. You know, it's I'm a big I always say that I was a wrestling fan as a kid, and we completely fell off of it. And one night I was working at a bar, and I got home. Wow. Got home at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and the only thing that was on TV was G4, and it was the Danny Havoc, you know, true life kind of thing that G4 did. And I became interested at that point. And then, but the one thing I kind of look for in a match is I you know, in doing this position, I've gotten to know a lot of you guys, and do consider a lot of these guys friends. A lot of guys have my cell phone number and, you know, text fairly regularly. I want to see my friends come back through that curtain. Sure, busted up, bleeding, but knowing that, like at AWR, it's Crystal or myself as an EMT and firefighter. We're going to get you patched up, and you guys are going to go to work the next show the next night. That's important. And when you're doing stuff like cactus and skewers and pigeon spikes and that stuff, it's just I don't because we'll go a little more shoot here. We all know it's gimmicked. A lot of the stuff is gimmicked, and it's there to tell a story. But like, how good is that story if you guys aren't like able to walk around in 20 years because you get some infection? I don't think it's speaking out of school. Marcus Crane, got pretty fucked up, and I think it all kind of started from that staple that he had, 2 years ago. Because he had the infection. I don't know for sure. I've never talked to Marcus's doctors, but I know he had that infection that started and then it got in his brain. It's scary. And the other thing I always come back to is Indiana. We're blessed to not have a commission that cares about wrestling. Right. I always say, the one good thing about living in a red state is they're not overly concerned about taxing every little thing. And as a former professional athlete in the state as well, if you make less than $30,000 as a pro athlete, they don't bill you for it. They know you're struggling, and that's great. And our 1099 rules work out well too, so everything works out really, really good. But if you want to get a commission, start having wrestlers get seriously hurt and with lifetime injuries.
Right.
But let's go ahead. Let's hit that social media one more time.
Yeah. Again, everything is via Alex Ocean. It's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I couldn't think of the name. Twitter.
Yeah,
TikTok. Like I said, don't sleep. I actually have more followers on TikTok than any of the other ones, so that's why I'm actually plugging that one. Just taking eyes, just funny little clips. But all those pro wrestling tees, just slash Alex Ocean. So real simple, straightforward.
All right, and guys, again, if you appreciate what these guys do, follow them on social media. Buy a T-shirt at the show on the 23rd. Buy Alex a beer after the show. I don't know. Do you drink?
I do. It's got to be an IPA though. Thank you.
Jesus, you IPA guys.
Hey man, we're like hipsters down here. Like, come on, don't give me that. Can't drink that white shit.
Yeah, well, I like beer that actually tastes like beer, not like I'm eating a salad. But yeah, buy him a beer. If I understand that we live in a world where money is insanely tight for everybody. So maybe you don't get the $20 for a T-shirt. Buy him a beer, toss him a $5 if you appreciate what they do. These guys genuinely appreciate it. But yeah, that's kind of my soapbox. But remember, August 23rd, 6 p.m. is when the doors open. I would not wait to buy tickets at the door. We've got sure we had a really big name on the last card, and when we announced he wasn't going to stay, he wasn't there. He got hurt. He wasn't there. 2 people left, so 2 more people that were in the line waiting to get in could get in. In my opinion, why we don't have the King coming this month, we've got more talent on this card than we've had on any card we've ever had. This is not going to be a show you want to miss. We got a street fight and 2 death matches. Drew Skills, I glossed over that earlier. Our heavyweight champ is making a special announcement at some point in the card. I've been assured by Drew that it's not something any of us dumbasses that can barely figure out how to put on our pants here in the state of Indiana want to miss. And he said he can't wait to see the look on all of our stupid, dumb faces. So, I think you'll want to be there for that as well. And you're going to get to probably be in the background of a video at some point in the night that is going to get a couple of million downloads when you've got the Bull Mastiff versus Alex Ocean. Alex, I was going to ask you too. Do you have a YouTube page or anything where you share your videos at, or?
No, not. I mean, I do have a YouTube page, but I don't remember what it is, and I don't ever upload to it, so I gotta get up.
and I firmly believe between Alex Ocean and Justin Kyle, we're gonna have a spot on this card or a spot in that match that you're gonna tell your grandkids about watching. So, on that note, remember August 23rd. Get your tickets ahead of time. I firmly believe that Alex will not be around in a year for us to see for door ticket prices of $10. He's either going to be working for NXT, AEW. He's going to be in Japan full time doing that stuff. So if you want to see a legit up and coming superstar, we've got him, Cole Radrick, and Akira, who I think all 3 are on their way out of the indies and on their way to hopefully they remember where they were when they're going to take indie bookings. But yeah, come on out. And then, a big match that we also got to talk about in the deathmatch role is Dale Patrick and Chuck Stein. That's going to be, it's Steen. My mom's half her family Stein, so I flip them. But yeah, Chuck Steen. So it's going to be amazing. Get your tickets early because they won't be there. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Shut the door.
We're all running your G-Jock.
I can slowly just kill you.